In this day and age of hyperbolic takes, folks trying to scoop all the news and the information and getting things out there first, wanting to be right about everything, and wanting to make sure that we go on record to say things. I will say this Klay Thompson to Miami Heat situation is not going to play out like folks are thinking. Miami fans, I don't think you're going to like it. Let's talk about it.
Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic, and I want to welcome you to my channel, Opinion Stated, where I give unfiltered, opinionated sports takes. Let's go.
Yo, what's good, everybody? My name is Cosmic. I want to welcome you back to my channel, Opinion Stated. And listen, I have a great episode planned for you today. One that, of course, has the internet all ablaze. Involving, again, Klay Thompson, man, headed to the Miami Heat. Miami's made a lot of moves in this offseason, and Miami not alone in the NBA, as many teams have sought to gain traction in these very busy NBA streets on that road to winning a championship, man. And I don't know that Miami's made the best moves, and I'm going to dig into that here in this episode. But before we dive deep into the content, do me a huge favor, like the video. Liking the video helps us cruise along Algorithm Avenue, helps us get into the presence of individuals just like yourself who might be interested in this kind of content. Also, subscribe to the channel. Also, hype the video, and that also helps to bolster us through the algorithm. On that note, I want to try something that I heard from Kwame Brown, right? Shout out to YouTube. I'm grateful for YouTube, I'll say, because I'm adhering to policies and procedures and YouTube community guidelines. I'm not violating any of those. That YouTube and their artificial intelligence AI robot machine, man, has, helped to boost me through the algorithm and is getting this video into the presence of many individuals, man, who are interested in seeing and hearing clean takes on sports. You know what I mean? Like none of the hyperbole. I'm out here talking about who's the best this, who's the best that. I'm just going to keep it clean. I'm going to give you guys my opinion stated. And on that note, I am entitling today's episode Hot Trash. Hot trash, man. I think the Miami Heat got this Klay situation all wrong. And so I think very easy to say that they just got the Klay situation all wrong. I think their whole free agency has been a debacle, from bringing in Giannis Antetokounmpo, from getting rid of obviously Tyler Hero, guys like Jaime Jaquez. So I just think that it's a project still in the making in terms of what they can be. Bam, Giannis, now Klay Thompson, and the other little scraps of pieces that they have. Andrew Wiggins, no disrespect. No disrespect to any of these guys who are NBA professional basketball players, obviously, but it's it's not a great team. I think it's going to be a well coached team, but just not a great team, not a contender by any stretch of the imagination. And so I'm going to talk about that here in this episode. If it's your first time here on the channel, I do this thing where I go into a 4-part game plan. And so in the first part of the game plan, we're going to talk about Jeff Teague. I'm going to share a bit of a clip from Jeff Teague's 520 podcast, where he, like a lot of the other pundits on or in the media, have just been kind of weighing in on and with excitement, I'll say, about Klay Thompson joining the Heat. And so I'm going to just use a clip. It's about a 3-minute clip from his podcast, in particular, him and his cohorts. You know what I mean? I was just sitting there kicking it, man, about the Klay Thompson move. In quarter number 2, I'm going to talk about the Heat team in general, meaning the roster that I just spoke so glowingly of a few seconds ago. And then I'm going to dive into Klay stats in quarter number 3. And then I'm going to get out of here talking about predictions as I kind of take a bit of a dump on what my expectations for the Miami Heat are coming into this 2026, 2027 season. You know what I mean? I kind of want to share what I think or how I think the Eastern Conference is going to shape up in closing for this video. So that's what you have to look forward to, man. Let's, without further ado, dive deeply into it. I want to get into the first portion. Again, like I said, man, first quarter of information. And that's going to be this clip from Jeff Teague and the bros, man, from the 520 in the morning podcast, bro. Shout out to Jeff Teague, man, for doing this thing too. He's provided oogofs of content for a lot of content creators out here. I know that a lot of times, you know what I mean, in order to get the clicks and the views, some people, you know, don't mind being controversial or hyperbolic, and it's not my thing, but you know, here I am responding to, you know, some of what could be hyperbole from them or could be a lot of fluff. But either way, let's see what Jeff and the guys had to say as well.
On the vet minimum, how y'all feeling, man? How's the roster shaping up?
It's a good pickup because he guard too. They got a great defensive team.
Yeah. Now, is he coming off the bench? Because I've been seeing they said Tim Hardaway Jr. Will be 6 man in the squad, but y'all think Klay?
We got a squad, boy. Yeah, I told y'all. What I say? The Heat was gonna be better than the Sixers.
They was killing you for that too.
They cooking.
That was on that.
I know I always say stuff earlier than everybody.
Nah, y'all can't get on this Klay train.
I was talking about.
I'm not on that train.
I said,
Now, don't get hype.
he can shoot the
You
ball.
know, don't get on Klay train. It's cool.
Yeah, in the year of our Lord
It's Bradley
2026.
Bill's spot, but I thought, you know, respect the Klay.
We just need you to shoot threes and guard. So
That's what he gonna do.
That's all we need.
Honestly, I don't even really need you to guard because in 2026, I'm not relying upon Klay Thompson to lock up, but just knock these threes down.
They all guard, so they got a good ass.
Yeah, they all compete offensively.
Now, Mook, last year, you know what I'm saying, he was high in Miami until it got wicked. You back on the bandwagon?
Man, yeah.
Oh, y'all was just on Philly. I said Miami was gonna be better than
train
Philly.
rolling, baby. I'm back.
Damn, the East is raw.
So we got Giannis.
Clip that up. Be here and say that again?
The guys, they listened to me, bro. The East was mid. Took all the players and brought them out there, bro.
So we got
The real conference.
So we got Bam, Giannis, Klay, Wig,
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Davion Mitchell, Tim Hardaway off the pond.
Tim Hardaway off the pond,
And Ryan.
Bobby Portis off the pond.
That's a fact.
That's a nice.
We got a nice 7. Ryan Conwell.
Ryan Conwell's there.
Shout out to Ryan, boy.
Damn, Bobby Porter's off the bench is gonna.
I like old buddy too, Nikola Jovic.
Jovic. Yeah, he's solid, bro.
Yeah. He ain't bad either.
Hell, Larson ain't weak either. I don't know how much minutes he gonna get as a guard, but
Who's Myron?
Myra Gardner. Shout out to
Yeah,
him.
we all right now, man.
I'm not mad at it. Yeah, I think that gets and Trey Donaldson. I don't know if he'll get minutes as well. But Miami, he is raw. But obviously the guard position a little bit tricky. You know what I'm saying? They get somebody else to fill that playoff roster spot. But so far, they got what it takes, man.
Now,
How y'all
let us
feeling?
find another guard, like point guard. Don't let Drew Holiday.
I seen that.
Don't let
Portland,
Drew
y'all better
Holiday.
not let Drew Holiday go, bro.
Not do it, Portland.
He has to stay in the
Let
West,
him
bro.
go to Miami, man.
Don't let Drew
Let's
Holiday
cook.
get out there.
Yeah,
just go ahead and
man. They
cook.
should
Now,
have
if we go
let
wild
Ja
out,
go
let him go
there.
to Philly. If we're gonna get annoying, let Drew go to Philly.
The Knicks have shook the league up, bro.
Don't let Drew get out there and get a buyout
Shout out to the Knicks, man.
and go to Miami.
All right, man. I ain't mad at it,
The
Clay.
on
East is-
South
the
Beach.
East is wicked.
Get my jersey ready, cuz.
Whenever you getting.
Yeah, I'm probably
Damn,
worth
so
55.
Miami a top 4 seed. Who,
Will.
55
Miami
for the Heat.
better than Cleveland?
Yeah, bro.
For sure.
So they drop down.
GG's, cuz.
Yeah.
Miami better than the Celtics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They drop down. They better than the Detroit Pistons?
Yes.
Yes.
We
Damn,
are.
they
We
dropped
are the
down?
we are the best team in the East. We've competed
They
with
better.
that.
Yeah. What was in the past doesn't matter anymore. Respectfully, bro.
Miami and Philly taking over them first 2 spots?
Nah, the Knicks are still up there.
Knicks is still
Y'all
in
respect the
Knicks?
Knicks.
Okay,
It's
that's
one-
top 3.
Top 3 is sold up.
They definitely top 4. At
Wow. Okay.
I mean, that is Giannis. And when Giannis plays, bro, Giannis kills.
Yeah.
And him and Bam.
And his
Yeah.
teams
83.
usually are like top 4 in the East
Yeah.
when he plays.
Yeah.
Now Miami cold. I ain't no hate. They fire.
They got a
Especially if Clay just give them 75%.
Bro, if you
They
just hit a
don't
couple
need some
threes.
We
shooters.
just need you to hit 3 threes.
Him and Tim Hardaway gonna space the floor.
That's
Wig.
a fire ass. Yeah, Wig too.
And you got Vince in the locker room,
Still
too.
athletic.
Ball's going to be high. Yeah, Miami, I got something to be happy about. Shout out to Clay, man.
Miami, I got something to talk about. Shout out to Clay, man. What you guys gonna be talking about, I think, by and large this year is probably more or less an expression of frustration. You know what I mean? Like if I just had to keep it 100%. You know, history shows us and has shown us, you know, that Giannis is not the player that he used to be in terms of durability. The Milwaukee fans, man, can tell you all about that. in just recent years, man, this dude has just not been able to stay healthy and just has not been able to stay on the court. And do I think that that trend will continue? Well, I really don't know. I'm not praying for his, status to be, kind of in and out of the lineup and for him to be injured. I clearly, want to see, all these guys play basketball, man. But the reality is the reality. And that is that, Giannis Antetokounmpo cannot carry a team all by himself. Technically nobody can, but he is so vital to what the team that is structured around him does that he needs to be on the court. And that's not just a regular season, but that's also like kind of Joel Embiid it in terms of being injured. By the time the postseason rolls around in recent years, man, that's when Giannis is MO. So I think that because you cannot really rely on Giannis to be healthy throughout the entire season, the flip side of that is, man, the Miami Heat could be a solid basketball team if Giannis has one of those MVP, type Giannis seasons. It's going to require that in order for them to even crack the top 5 in the East, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Based on just how the other teams are made up and what I anticipate, being a very competitive Eastern Conference, much like they said, man, the East is back. The East was mid. You know what I mean? Like, I can agree with those things, but certainly not Miami, being top 3, top 4. That's foolishness. You know what I mean? Like, all the way around the board. And so on that note, I do want to take a look at, like what the potential lineup would be. We'll take a look at this Heat team. And they're talking Davion Mitchell. I'm like, Davion who? They're like, Davion Mitchell. I'm like, Davion who? Davion, no disrespect, whether you are an NBA basketball player, but I'm like, Davion who? You know what I'm saying? Big Bronny, I guess, you know what I mean? As folks were, a few years back saying, Bronny's like a poor man's Davion Mitchell. And I'm like, I just have never been impressed with Davion Mitchell as an NBA pro. And again, he's an NBA pro, so there's no slight to him. I'm just saying I don't look at him as a needle mover in that regard. So they add Klay Thompson, also Andrew Wiggins, who I'm a fan of. I've always been a fan of Drew Wiggins. And just his development over the years. Just happy to see him finally get a ring when he was in Golden State. And he and Klay, get to kind of team back up again. Like just a few years prior, can't even say the days of old. Obviously, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bam Adebayo. I'm not a huge Bam fan. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not. I've just never been really a huge Bam fan. I think that Bam is a very skilled basketball player. I do. I don't think that Bam is like a star in this league by a long stretch. I think that Bam has the ability to score the basketball, to, kind of do a few different things, offensively, from even stretching the floor a bit, to being a solid defender. I just don't really like. I don't think that Bam's a good rebounder at all. Not for his size. I think that he should be much better on the glass. And maybe that's my parlay heart talking when I'm just like, Bam can't grab me 7 boards, bro. Like, what's going on, bro? You can't give me 7 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? But I just have never really been a huge fan of Bam Adebayo. I thought that what he contributed to the team that was around him in Miami was solid, but never as like a guy who's could be like an integral piece in winning a championship. Or who am I? You know what I mean? Except the guy with an opinion. So that's just the potential for their starting lineup. This graphic came from Clutch Points, and shout out to Clutch Points, who then, kind of went a little bit farther, one step farther, and asking, how far will this team go? You know what I mean? So I'll tell you exactly how far they'll go. You ready? Lean in. You're going to have to wait for it. It comes up quarter 4. But moving right along, man, I want to talk about just Klay stats, you know what I mean? Like here in part number 3. So this was Klay stats, just the 2 seasons that he spent in Dallas after being in Golden State for so many years, 24-25 season. He played 72 games for the Dallas Mavericks, started all 72 games that he played. With just a little over 27 minutes a game. He averaged 14 points, so decent numbers, for Klay as an auxiliary piece there in Dallas. 3.4 rebounds, 2 assists in the game for him that first year. And that was shooting 41.2% from the field, so still a solid shooter. Klay's one of those guys who, in my opinion, will be a consummate You know what I mean? Like just going to be like a heavily sought after, um, veteran player as time goes on because he can provide like that shooting. Won't be able to defend a parked car. You know what I mean? Like as he develops and as he continues to get up there in age, especially given his injury history, but he'll be able to shoot. You know what I mean? So if you just need a corner boy that you can kind of hide on defense a little bit, you know what I mean? Like defensively, he's become, unfortunately, Steph Curry. And Klay used to be the guy who was like a linchpin on defense for them as well. Because, Klay could guard. He really could, man. He's a really good defender, post both the knee and, the Achilles, issue for him. So I just think that, obviously the shooting is always going to be there for Klay. I can never knock him for that. So even again, 3-point percentage wise, 39% he shot from three. I'm averaging 3 made threes per game in his first year with the Mavericks, and 90.5% from the free throw line. So just really stellar as a free throw shooter. And then there was last year in Dallas as well, where he played 69 games. He only started 8 games. So something happened. You know what I mean? Where Dallas made a decision to just say, man, you know what? This guy ain't, you know what I mean? Like we'll use him with the second unit. And some could say, the something that happened was Cooper Flag. And you could say, yeah, but nah. You know what I mean? Like they lost Luka Doncic shifted last year. And so, you know what I mean? Then Klay goes into a bit of a reserve role, or definitely into a reserve role. Only mustered about 12 points a game last season in 22 minutes. 2.1 rebounds. Assists were down also at 1.4. Field goal percentage was slightly down at 39.3 percent shooting from the field and 38.3% shooting from three. So still a solid shooter, above average for a 3-point shooter in the league. Somewhere around 2.9, nearly 3 3-pointers a game still. And his free throw percentage numbers, just kind of drastically dropped down to 77% almost. So again, I think that Klay provides like a little bit of role player, you know what I mean? Like kind of seasoning on top of a decent team. But it's not a needle moving situation where Klay is going to come in and be like this definitive piece anymore. That's going to lead to a team winning a championship. I just don't think that that's the case, unless it is a situation where I think he probably should have went to play with one of the young teams, man. Like San Antonio probably would have been a really, really good fit for him. He was going to not take any money really to just play. And you know what I mean? Like just still get a chance to compete. Probably would have been better to hide him in a space or on a team with a lot of young legs and young guns, just kind of, man, moving around there and filling the lanes and stuff like that, man. So they would have had better help, defense and stuff like that. But, this Miami situation, again, I just don't think it's a good situation for him. And with that, I want to get into the fourth portion of this game plan. And I want to talk about my predictions. As you can see the graphic already on the screen. No disrespect to any of the teams in the Eastern Conference, man, but it just is what it is. Detroit has been, coming for the last couple of years, man, gaining steam. And, there they are, man. I think that they will still finish at number one as they did last year. So I don't think their position will change. They're the best young team in the Eastern Conference. And, we'll see with the development of the team, the players in the offseason, and just what they bring, especially Cade Cunningham and his leadership. I just think that they'll still be the class of the Eastern Conference. Shout out to the Knicks, who finished last season at number 3 and are the defending champions of the NBA. I think that they will, take a bit of a jump up in the standings to the second seed, just by virtue of being still a solid team. The only player that they lost was Mitchell Robinson. Get Mitchell come in and, like I always say, do like the auxiliary things that were required, like grabbing boards, like defending, just being kind of a rim protector and, kind of pesky on the inside, to make maybe some of these offensive players think twice before driving the lane and stuff like that, man. Yeah, but I don't think they'll miss him so much that they're just going to fall in the standings or that threatens their defense of the title. So I think the Knicks will still be a very solid team. I know I say Detroit at number 1, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks take the number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference. Man, they're literally that solid. as a team, and I don't just have to tell you guys that. You don't have to take my word for it. I think their championship is solid enough to speak for itself. Number 3, moving up 4 spots from last season. I'm finished at number 7. I think that Philadelphia will, hover somewhere around the 3-4 spot. I just put them at 3, above Cleveland, who is still trying to figure it out. But I think that obviously the Jaylen Brown signing, man, I'm really, really a trade. You know what I mean? I was like really, really excited about that one. I think that Jaylen Brown addition made them a super team, and then sprinkling the old man um, from Akron, and you know what I mean, like that makes them, I guess, the same. You know what I mean? But that's not to discredit LeBron and what he is still able to do out there on the basketball court. But I think that Philly should be a solid team this season. Their success is predicated also on whether or not Joel Embiid can stay healthy. But I think that when you take the old man from Akron and Joel Embiid and you kind of smush them together, then with his load managing at his age, and with Joel's, not playing back-to-back games, not playing in 2 games in 3 nights, like those kinds of situations. I think that that's where you can kind of insert LeBron or expect that LeBron will help to at least keep him afloat. Keeping in mind, of course, that it was Jaylen Brown last year who by himself got Boston to the 2 seed. You know what I mean? So them adding Jaylen Brown gives them Jaylen and Tyrese Maxey, who can take over a game at any point. You know what I mean? So I'm flying the flag of the 76ers for that reason. It has nothing to do with the old man from Akron. But again, man, Cleveland, Kenny Atkinson's on his last leg there. I think that if he doesn't help them, man, to at least get over the hump or make some kind of huge or drastic stance as a power in the East, which they looked like a few seasons ago, and then last year just kind of fell into obscurity and mediocrity. I think it's because they brought in James last year that didn't really help. Not really sure why they got rid of Darius Garland outside of Rich Paul saying that, like, I told him that, you know what I mean? Like, you want to make some moves and like get Darius out of there at some point. I'm just like, then and I don't want to go into the tangent, but that to me, that move didn't make sense. It made them a weaker team. But nonetheless, I still have them at 4. And then obviously Toronto at number 5 because of the addition of Kawhi Leonard. I think that's a big deal for them. They finished at the 5th seed last year as well. So I think that they'll still hover somewhere around the middle of the pack in the Eastern Conference. I love Scotty Barnes. You know what I mean? Like, I think that RJ Barrett will have a better season. I think they will make some great strides this year. You know what I mean? So I just think that they have a decent squad already and really good players. So adding Kawhi, that is, of course, if Kawhi can deliver like he delivered last year at this age and stage of his career in LA. So, you know what I mean? Like, that remains to be seen also, but I'm still high on the team because, or not necessarily high on the team. I just believe that they are who they are. So I, put them for the most part where they were last year. That is to say that Kawhi, doesn't come in and add that kind of punch that, he's capable of doing, because last year he played outstanding. He was back. Kawhi was doing Kawhi teams. You know what I mean? So if Kawhi happens not to be able to do that, or if he happens to be able to do that, then, you know what I mean? Like, this Toronto team should definitely take a leap beyond middle of the pack. But we'll see, kind of how that shakes out. Orlando, at some point, man, will have to stop fucking embarrassing me. Shout out to Paolo Banchero and the Wagner brothers. I think that they will finish somewhere around the 6th seed this year. That would be up 2 spots from last year's 8. They have to turn the page, man. They have to turn the corner. So I think that this season will be the season, for them. They've just been kind of picking up steam and, stumbling through regular season, kind of figuring it out towards the end, and then, not really being able to really make a huge splash in the playoffs. I think this will be the off season where they figure it out. I'm expecting them to be a whole lot better this year. Atlanta, shout out to Atlanta, man. I'm kind of low on Atlanta this year, and not because they're a bad team. I just don't see where they really improved in the offseason, but they were a really good team last year without, partially in part, to Trae Young. Trae was banged up a lot last year, in and out, and boys proved that they can play without him, and they certainly did. But for that reason, I still have them And by virtue of what's at the top here in the Eastern Conference, that Toronto will still be there somewhere around 7. That's down 1 spot from last year. The team that I'm really, really low on this year is Boston. And that's just because, again, as we talk about age and attrition, or not age and attrition, but just injury status, I don't really know what the Jason Tatum is going to look like coming into this season. So that doesn't mean that Jason Tatum, because of the injury, got sorrier as a basketball player. But I don't know, man. I got to see him bounce back like KD. KD's the best player that, or had the best recovery from an Achilles that we've ever seen. So I'm going to need to see Jason Tatum do that in order for me to be higher on Boston last year. Hopefully, man, we get towards the end of the season and predictions such as this to have them at 8 for me is dead wrong. And I'm like, oh man, look, they were right there at number 2, number 3. You know what I mean? Like, I was disrespecting JT. I think that I watched the Olympic documentary, what it's called, like Gold Court or something like that on Netflix here a couple nights ago, man. And it was crazy that JT had no speaking parts in this entire documentary. And his energy through the whole thing, man, was just, you could tell it was just like he was there, but he wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like, man, and he got snubbed, didn't get a chance to play. It was terrible. It's like a lot of outcasts on the team. You know what I mean? Like, and that was after winning the championship. So that was crazy. But I don't really know, man, what Boston's going to do this year. And that's because Jaylen Brown, again, kind of put that team on his back. He backpacked them last year in his best season statistically and got them to a number 2 seed in a different Eastern Conference, albeit. But yeah, it's not to say that I don't believe that Jason Tatum is the better offensive basketball player. I do. But I think that Jaylen Brown is the better defensive player of the two of them. And yeah, so I just don't know, again, because of his health and him coming off this Achilles. I'm just not really sure what he's going to be able to do. Speaking of Achilles, obviously I don't even have Indiana up there, and them losing Miles Turner, I think just kind of hurts them a bunch rather. And same thing with Halliburton coming back. You know what I mean? Just kind of want to say that for the Pacers fans. Might be looking like, yo, no Pacers up here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, they have to prove me wrong too. Heavy on being a DC native, man. These Wizards coming into the season, I know, talking about injuries. Trey's been injured and banged up a lot over the last couple of years, and so is Anthony Davis. But here I am saying, man, the Wizards going to take a giant leap up 6 spots from bottom of the barrel in the 2025-2026 season up to the number 9 seed, and to at least be a play-in team here in this year's or next year's playoffs. But we'll see how it shapes up. I really, really like this team, man. They're young core. I like the young kids that they have. So I think that, man, the team is actually going to make some noise this year. We'll see. It's high time for, man, these Washington squads to do something. You know what I mean? Basketball and football, man. So we'll see what happens. Sick of these motherfuckers being terrible, but it is what it is, man. Such is life as a Washingtonian, man, and a fan of like the sports franchises. And so that leads us to the 10th seed and my, opinion of what's going to happen here in the Eastern Conference, man. That'll be these Miami Heat that have been subject of conversation in this particular episode. I think they'll be well coached. I believe in Spoelstra and that coaching staff. He classically has proven himself to be a kind of coach that can make something out of nothing. And, you know what I mean? That can get his team into the best position and keep his team in the best positions to win in terms of personnel. I don't think there's a better coach in the league who coaches his personnel based on who they are. And, you know what I mean, is able to get success out of them, whatever you might deem success. I'm just talking about winning games and, kind of overachieving even to a degree. He's gotten some teams into the finals and I'm like, how? You know what I mean? Like, but that's just Eric Spoelstra. And so I don't doubt that there'll be a well-coached team. I don't doubt that there'll be a team that can hold their own in the Eastern Conference. But again, I just don't really believe in the personnel. I don't see how all these weirdo pieces are going to fit together, man, to be a cohesive unit. And that's almost, like to say I kind of never really have in Miami. You know what I mean? But again, Spoelstra always seems to make it work. So hopefully I'm wrong. And, you know what I mean? Like, Miami is incredible this year because Giannis is able to give and put on one of those MVP type seasons. I remember a few years ago when, Klay came back from the injuries, I was saying, man, I watched him in the summer league and I was like, man, the preseason rather. and I was saying, yo, Golden State looks really good. And if Klay can just come back and be a decoy for them, like he doesn't even have to be like the old Klay. He just needs to be like a decoy Klay. And if he can still have people respect him like he's that guy, then it'll clearly, space the floor a little bit, man. And if he can knock down the shot like I assumed that he could, I was like, yo, they might be all right. I don't know what his explosiveness is going to look like, et cetera, et cetera. I was just like, it remains to be seen. But the boys could possibly win it all this year, and they went on to win it all. And Klay returned. I say all of that to say, I am a fan of Klay Thompson, bro. I like Klay. I just don't think that Klay's the same basketball player post injury. And so I'm just keeping it real when I say I hope that Klay has that resurgent kind of a season where he comes out, man, just like, maybe he's been going half mast because of, I don't know, just being in his mental or just not being settled in his spirit, being in the place that he wanted to be in. Maybe the sunshine in Miami will kind of change all of that stuff. They got the bays down there so he can boat and he can do all the things that he's used to doing, man. So maybe that, flip some kind of switch for Klay, man, and we get, a flashback in a time machine of like the Klay Thompson. If that happens in Miami, with a, resurgent Klay Thompson and a healthy and MVP status, Giannis Antetokounmpo, man, could possibly make some noise. But this just, to me, is reminiscent of, what could look like Giannis and, the squad that they were able to put together with Dame and Milwaukee, but and even kind of like a step below that because, they just don't have the other pieces, say like Bobby Portis and these guys. You know what I mean? Like, so I just don't see it. And so again, man, I don't want to drag that too far. I have them at, barely a play-in spot. You know what I mean? For next season, we'll see how that plays out, man. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. That's been the basis of this episode. I want to thank you guys for tuning in, man. Like I said, I just think that the Miami Heat got this one all wrong. It did have the space open. I know that they were in pursuit, it was said, of Bradley Beal. I don't think that Brad would have been much better as a fit there in Miami, but Brad has more in the tank at this point in his career. Maybe he can get the back together than Klay Thompson does. But either way, man, it was just like there's much to do about nothing. I feel like with both those players, again, there's no slight to them, there's no disrespect. You can't talk me out of what I'm seeing as a basketball fan as I watch these players play, though. Like, it is what it is. At some point, age and attrition catches up. Injuries don't help. And so, man, again, like the video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys in the very next episode. Hype the video as well. Share it with your friends, family members, etc. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care of yourself and so good. Blessing.